Pops, we've got a market update that we're going to do specifically for the used vehicle industry
I
segment?
guess, well, it's...
Cohort?
You and your cohorts.
My only friends are the cohorts.
Yes.
All right, Pops, what's going on in the used car market right now? We have new data from Black Book and also from Manheim and Cox Automotive.
Yes, that used car wholesale prices peaked, and they've been on a downward trend for the last 4 weeks, which follows historical data, which is that during this time of year is when we normally see used car wholesale values decreasing.
Yeah.
Now, what we haven't seen, and what I suspect we won't see for quite some time, is and typically what happens is that the retail prices come down about 6 to 8 weeks after the used car wholesale values start going down. But I don't think we're going to see any type of significant decrease in retail asking prices.
For used vehicles.
Well, for used vehicles, because A, there really is still a shortage of used vehicles, and B, we know from recently having looked at on-hand inventories for new cars that there's less new cars available for sale this month than there was last month. So if there's going to be less new car supply, and people still want to get cars, then that means they're going to look at replacing or buying or adding a pre-owned if they can't get the new car.
Definitely. So we saw, again, week over week from Black Book,
yes,
a significant decline in wholesale prices. It was another half point for the market, which is, like you said, the fourth week in a row that we've seen this. And there are some particular standouts amongst different vehicles. I know from the Cox Automotive, the Manheim data, they were talking about how the price increases for pickup trucks have been quite rapid. And the velocity at which they're declining is also quite rapid. So, for example, pickup trucks were down almost 0.7% week over week on the wholesale market, but not nearly as much as full-size cars, mid-size cars, and compact cars, all down over a point.
And what is the one car that keeps going up week after week?
Subcompacts.
Yes.
Explain that for everyone.
Well, the reason that the subcompacts keep going up is because they typically are the least expensive on a retail basis, and so the dealers can afford to keep those prices higher than they have been in the past because they are still significantly less than a full size or a mid size or a luxury.
And also, it's just like for people that have limited budgets. Those are the only vehicles in their price point.
Yes.
So if you're in, and we've got joinmya.com, read our articles about pre-purchase inspections. Pretty please. Like if you're going to buy a used vehicle at under, I don't know, $10,000 price point in this market, you just have to get a pre-purchase inspection, please.
Yes, and typically those also have well over 100,000 miles on them.
Definitely. I want to talk about inventory, though. Okay. Inventory, what's on the market in terms of the used car market right now. You can see when we look at this chart, Dad, the purple line. I mean, inventory is down from the beginning of this year still.
Yes.
And we're down almost 10% from where we began at the beginning of the year. And you can see if you look to last year is the orange line on this chart. Last year was down from the prior year.
Yes.
So we're just, dearth is a word that we toss around from time to time, but that's exactly what it is. There's a dearth of inventory, and we've also seen at the auctions.
And the dearth is both in new and used.
Yes. We've run out of used cars as well.
Yes.
And we've seen at the auctions, the sale rate at the auction has declined again.
Yeah.
And the sale rate is how many of the vehicles that actually make it to the lane actually get sold, right?
Exactly.
And we're at a 64% sale rate, which the prior few weeks had been up in the 70s, mid-70s, low 70s.
One of the reasons that it could be lower is because dealers have a higher floor that they're willing to let the car go at. So, because they own their inventory for so damn much money right now that they set a floor that's higher than anybody would be willing to pay, since they know that the used car values have been declining week over week. What that indicates to me is that there are dealers out there that are underwater in the valuations of their used car inventory.
What do you mean?
Well,
they owe more on it than it's worth.
Meaning that they bought it when prices were wholesale prices
4 weeks ago, 6 weeks
ago, and so if they bought something for $10,000 4 weeks ago and now it's only worth $9,000, well, they're $1,000 in the hole. Okay, but they're thinking, well, I don't want to lose that $1,000, so I'll take it back to the auction and I'll sell it at the auction. But if I can't get $9,800, I'm not going to let it go. And what's happening is they're not getting the offers up to $9,800. Smart dealers realize that if their inventory's out of whack, in the sense that they own it for more than what it's really worth, you're better off biting the bullet, selling it for whatever you can get, and replacing it with that cheaper inventory so you can make that money back with the profits you'll be able to make on the retail side. A lot of dealers retail their inventory based on what they own it for. It has nothing to do with what you own it for. It has everything to do with what a customer is willing to pay for it.
Definitely. Now, one other area that we think we're going to see some impacts because of the decrease in wholesale prices for the consumer is on trade-ins.
Yes.
We have the expectation that trade-in valuations are going to start to decline. We've seen them decline over the past 4 weeks, but that could be the more apparent in the one that you feel a bit more before you see retail price changes.
Yes, and dealerships have always been known to offer
lowball.
as far as the consumer is concerned, have always been known to offer too little for the customer's trade. That's just one of the truisms of the car business. But I think we'll see a significant, even though used car wholesale prices are only down about 2%. My suspicion is that we'll see about a 5 to 10% decline in what used car managers are going to offer the customer for their trade-ins, based on what they had been offering even just 4 weeks ago.
And one of the things that I'm really proud of that we did is early on we partnered with Black Book, the same people that produce this industry data, for their valuations. The same valuations that a lot of dealerships use, in addition to MMR values and some other things that we can't unfortunately get our hands on, like auction prices. But you can run the Black Book valuation back at joinyaa.com, create your account there. But yeah, I mean, it's just ridiculous what's going on. And it's unfortunate because about 4 weeks ago, it was like, oh, maybe there was some news on the chip front, like, okay, maybe Ford's making some progress, everyone's making some progress. Oh, it looks like wholesale prices have hit their ceiling. To me, it's going to be a blip on the radar. I wouldn't be surprised if wholesale prices actually end up going back up again in another couple of weeks, just as a result of this continued lack of new inventory.
Yes, if the lack of new inventory worsens, and we saw it get worse from July to August, but one of the things I did read today is that the chip shortage seems to be mitigated slightly. There were less cars lost to production last week than the prior week.
Although we are up to 7.1 million lost to production, up from last week's 6.9 million.
Yes, but the point is that it seems to be lessening. So if we see some movement in new car inventory, where the manufacturers can start producing at a higher level than they have been, that would have a continued downward trend on used car wholesale and retail values. But
we're all watching the same thing, which is new car inventory, and also consumer demand. And fleet demand for inventory.
Well, right now there doesn't seem to be any shortage of consumer demand. So,
although I think that is actually what reflects in the wholesale prices hitting their ceiling, right? Is consumer demand has hit its ceiling. It's consumers are saying, I don't want to pay $5,000 over MSRP for a used Telluride that has 10,000 miles on it. This doesn't make sense.
So I think in that respect, there's still people out there that want to buy cars. Those people that are out there that want to buy cars are just not willing to spend what it had taken even 4 weeks ago. So I think the retail pricing peaked. I don't necessarily think we'll have retail prices go higher than where they had been 4 weeks ago, but
fingers crossed.
But I don't think they're going to drop significantly.
No, I agree. Because there's enough demand.
Yes. The one thing that controls all of this is the consumer saying, okay, I'll buy the car. If the consumers en masse suddenly say, nope, I'm not buying these cars at these prices, then the prices will come down. But as long as there's enough people that go, yeah, okay, I can swing it, the prices are not going to drop dramatically.
You heard it here first. Stop buying cars. But sign up for a YA membership.
You know what's really funny? We did a video where we said people should stop buying cars, and I believe we did that video back in December when we were in Las Vegas. So what we said then holds water now.
Thanks, Pops.
Thank you, Zach.